Excellencies, dear friends, I'd like to thank the organizer of this event to give me opportunity to share with you some of my reflections about the lessons are behind the 10th anniversary of enlargement of the EU. I was informed by the organizer that I have only 10 minutes, so I'll try to be maximally concise. Of course, I would like to speak about Polish way to EU, about Polish experience and achievements. The big enlargement of the EU in 2004 has been preceded by the fundamental changes in the domestic political landscape in the Central and Eastern Europe countries. A few days ago, I opened the exhibition titled "The Road to the Freedom." It all began in Poland. Indeed, accession of 10 countries to the EU was a crowning of the difficult historical process, and before the 1st May 2004, we have traveled a very, very long road. 1980, emergence of the first non-communist trade union Solidarność. 1 year later, introduction of martial law, repressions, victims, 9 years of the fight against the communist regime in aloneness, in front of sympathetic indifference of the Western governments. March of 1989, the start of the negotiation of the Round Table between communist authorities and the representatives of the Polish democratic opposition. And 4th June 1989, the first free election in world communist bloc. The 4th June 1989 went down in history as the beginning of the democratic, political and peaceful transformation in Poland and in Europe, initiated by the Solidarity movement. It was the Polish transformation that triggered a domino effect in the Europe and became a catalyst for change, leading by the final dismantling of the Iron Curtain. The year 1989 was a breakthrough year in which the first free election in Poland triggered the final victory of democracy over totalitarian regime in this part of the world. This breakthrough picked up the wind of change in war Central Europe. The fall Berlin Wall, the Velvet Revolution in Czechoslovakia, dramatic events in Romania, changed the regime in Lithuania, Bulgaria, and as well as in the other countries. When we were starting the transformation of the political regime and economy, which aimed at a normalization of all aspects social and economical life in the country, we began a hazardous enterprise. No one had ever done this before, and no one knew if it could be done. As a joke went at the time, we know that you can turn an aquarium into fish soap. The question is whether you can turn a fish soap back into an aquarium. This is the question. The Polish accession to the European Union was also a risky project, and there had been a lot of obstacles and mistrust to overcome. In 2004, we joined the EU as a new member state full of awe, but also fearful of losing our sovereignty. Many European countries had also their reservation concerning labor market and other standards. Yet it proved to be a success story for all of us. In the course of the last 10 years, Poland has become a significant political player in the European Union. Now we can celebrate our first decade in the EU as a strong and influential member state that knows how to pursue its interests, but also acts with responsibility for the process of European integration for all Europe. Poland has won a strong political position and a reputation of a country that is predictable and responsible. This was possible thanks to Poland's very good economic performance and political stability in the hard times of economic crisis, and to high public support for integration, unlike in many other European societies. You know, in Poland, even now, in the day of crisis, 86% of society supports our membership in EU. And I am deeply convinced that when, in the future, historians will look back to work at the beginning of the 21st century, they will conclude that the European Union enlargement was one of the greatest achievements. Poland's success story, I think, is attractive, particularly to countries in the East. The outcome of the Polish transformation gives us the right to wish our Eastern neighbors similar changes. Our experience makes us confident that this country will be strong and independent once they go through a similar process of reconstruction. We Poles will remember also dark years, 80s and priors, hence the idea of the Eastern Partnership embedded in the European Union's neighborhood policy. The Eastern Partnership is intended to support reform and help to transform these countries into modern democracies with sound economies, if they so much manifest such willingness. Freedom has not been earned at a cheap price. We have to be ready to care for it and defend it. I'd like to remind the word of José Manuel Barroso. He said, the return to Europe of Poland and other countries was also the return of Europe's commitment to its defining values and its founding principles. These values and these principles are like flowers in the garden. They need constant, careful tending. We must never take them for granted. Thank you.